Hello, everybody. I'm very excited to do this for Joseph, and you'll see why, I suspect, as we move through our conversation. Um, because he's awesome. He's absolutely amazing. So, I'll tell you more about that as we move through this.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mihala. I live in Los Angeles and I struggled all my life with my weight and I could never do a diet. Why? Because I was always hungry. And my husband used to be afraid of me when I was hungry. He was always feeding me right away so I won't get hungry. And then my blood tests were so bad, my doctor was threatening with putting me on insulin or whatever medicine for sugar. So I decided I had to do something about it. And because diets didn't work, my husband knew about Joseph and he recommended him to me.
For me, I sought Joseph out because just like my clients sometimes have to contact me again, I kind of equate this to being like you go to the gym, the trainer shows you what to do, he works the circuit with you, he or she works the circuit with you several times, and then you're off on your own. And then once in a while, you kind of fall out of it because you don't have the trainer to meet and you're not obligated. And so sometimes you need to get back on with contacting the trainer again. And that's
This program, I knew about it through you. I talked to you all through your going through it and creating it, and you actually doing it and changing your life. And I thought, oh, I need this because I was just diagnosed with diabetes and I wasn't getting the information I needed from my doctors. Let's be honest. They wanted to pump me full of pills and they weren't giving me the information I needed. And when I heard you talk about this, I thought, let's wait and see what Joseph does. I mean, to be perfectly honest.
Well, it is very much about you, Joseph. First of all, I chose you because you're you. And I had seen you present about all like the kind of hypno fasting and deleting diabetes and all of these kinds of things at several conferences, and I think even pre-COVID actually. And I was kind of, you're thinking about doing something and thinking about doing something. And then I decided that I would, you get to that place where you would. So you were the only person that I thought of when I decided that, it doesn't matter how good a hypnotist you are, we all need a little bit of help sometimes. And I decided to ask you to help me. So it was about the work that you'd done. I'd seen you were very evidence-based. You were super passionate about it. You're a seriously lovely guy. You're an amazing hypnotist, and I completely trusted you. I just felt really comfortable putting myself in your capable hands. So that was why I chose you. And the whole other, if you've ever seen Joseph present, you would know why as well. It's just so science-based, super informative.
I lost probably by this point over 50 pounds.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And what was your A1C when we first started, and what was your A1C when we finished, or the most recent A1C?
When we started, my A1C was 7.7. And right now, I mean, probably like a few months ago, because I'm going to do my blood test again in 2 weeks. It was around 5.3, which is great, I think. And my doctor is saying it's boring. So, so here we are.
And I think that's part of this. This isn't this is a lifestyle change and a mindset change. It's not a quick fix way to start shedding some weight. I'm much more interested in what my blood sugars are doing, how much energy I've got, how well I am, my metabolic health, rather than what the scale says. Although the scale is saying some much better numbers than it used to, I have to say. But that almost is like a byproduct of generally feeling and being much healthier and having a lot more energy for things. I'm just making when you start making better choices in one area of your life, you start making better choices in other areas of your life, I find as well.
Joseph, is that, and this full disclosure here, I don't mind. I fell off track about last October. I like to focus on eating mostly a keto-based eating program. And I fell off, and I was, literally buying peanut butter crackers from vending machines. And, I was off. And I can't teach what I teach and do that at the same time. It feels not right. It doesn't feel congruent. So I sought Joseph out because I knew about his book, and he gives my book out because he's trying to simplify it for people. And I tell people, especially my medical professionals, especially my nurses and doctors and so forth, I say, you want the science behind this stuff? By Deleting Diabetes. That's the book by Joseph Onesta, where he's going to go into the science behind my simplification. So,
well, I think the Onesta process is a great name for it because it is your process, so you should own it. If you're a hypnotist thinking about taking your course, I mean, I'd say don't hesitate. For me, when I don't see an awful lot of weight loss clients just for weight loss. I see weight loss clients in connection to my own niche. So that it's attached to that. But I think now I would be a lot more confident in seeing general weight loss clients. There was a part of me that was very hesitant to see people just for weight loss because I was struggling with my own weight. So that there was that in the background. Whereas now, because I understand that process, I understand where I am. And I would feel much more confident. So certainly for confidence in treating something or working with something, I should say, that is a real mainstay or of many hypnotic businesses. I think people often get stuck. It's way more than calories in, calories out. The science proves that now. So I think what you provide is a methodology that's backed by the latest science and continues to be backed by the latest science. I've become a real kind of geek about all of this since I started working with you. So I've been doing my own research. I'm a biologist by background. So, it's not just a case of, think about, focusing on how you want to be and, all the kind of classic things that we're taught in hypnosis school with regards to weight management. This is much more of a holistic approach where it's looking at, what the body actually does. It's a much more of a mind-body connected approach that's proven by science. So, that's why it's like nothing else. And it's not just it's not just fasting as well. That's the other thing. It's a real kind of package. Even things like when you had me taking photographs of my food, just to kind of, so there's a huge amount of making you stop and think, making you stop and look. The pattern interrupts are outside of the hypnosis session as well. There's a lot kind of encapsulated in what you now have kind of termed the Onesta process, and quite rightly it should be called that too.
And then I was diagnosed with 2 different kinds of cancers, and I know that sugar feeds cancer, but I could not comprehend dealing with getting rid of my diabetes and dealing with the cancer at the same time. I just didn't have the brain capacity. So I watched you go through it, and I kept thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to do this when I'm ready. And, a year went by of me going through different types of treatments and whatnot, and I was just never ready. And then finally, I think I saw you for the first time, and you had dropped so much weight. And I looked at you, I was following behind you. We were going to dinner, and I said, because we're good friends, I said, Joseph, you've got to get some new clothes. That looks awful. And you said, you think my pants don't fit? And I said, oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
So I sought you out, Joseph, and I just want to talk about a couple of takeaways that I got from the program that helped me and that I've actually passed on to my clients. That's why I think if anyone's going to get trained in your program, some of these things I'm going to mention are really awesome. One of them was, you said to me, and coming from professional to professional at times, you know, you have to sit back and just hear what the other person has to say. And you said to me, do you eat anything out of a package? And I'm thinking, you know, all these processed foods. I'm not thinking about nuts out of a package. I'm not thinking about pepperoni or cheese or any of these things out of a package. And you said, I would like you to, whatever comes out of a package, put it on a plate and take a picture of it. Well, I've been single now, newly single after 23 years for almost 2 years. And my food on my plate, up until the time I worked with you, didn't really look very appetizing. It wasn't the way I was used to being served in a relationship, or that I would serve someone else in a relationship where you want to make your plate presentable. I would just eat at the kitchen counter, oftentimes, you know, eating nuts out of packages and so forth. And what the photograph, arranging that photograph that I had to send to you, now there's accountability there for myself, and you want to make the picture look decent. As a matter of fact, I guess I made the pictures look so decent, you said you used them for presentation. And so so that got me in the habit of realizing to honor myself at the table, to be my own best friend, to cook for me as I would for my partner or anyone else, a friend coming over or family member, and to treat myself as good with self-love as I would treat someone else. That's what those photographs did for me. Now, it might not do that for everybody, but that was my thing, is that it became accountable. And then I could look back and say, oh, look what you ate today.
And so I saw you work with some other hypnotists, and I saw the changes in them, life-changing stuff. And I thought, okay, I'm finally ready. So I picked up the phone and gave you a call, and we started working together. But I wasn't committed right away. I'm one of those clients who wants the results but doesn't want to do the work, I guess. But I wanted it, and I just thought, oh, it's magic. No, I didn't. Anyway, I knew I had to do the work, but it's just taken me a little bit. And so I've been doing the program for a while. I've been going at my own pace just because I have a lot going on and other things. But what is so awesome about this program is that you can do that. You can go at your own pace. It doesn't have to be done in 30 days. And it's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. It's not a calorie. It's not, you know, only this many calories. It's nothing like that. It's just making choices on living healthy and creating a healthy lifestyle. And we're not taught this stuff. We're taught diet, and we're taught deprivement, and we're taught shame and guilt.
Yes.
And that's what I was taught my whole life. I was on so many diets, and I didn't have diabetes until a few years ago. And I'm 59. So, and I thought I went to the doctor because there was something wrong with me. I just couldn't feel good. I just didn't feel good. And when I was diagnosed, I was in shock. I didn't believe it. I was like, what? Diabetes? I eat healthy. Are you kidding me?
And I have done so many programs over the last 20, 25 years. I was like, is this just going to be another one? And then, to be honest with you, there was a cost factor, but I decided last summer that I was going to try one last thing. I was going to give myself a year and then go from there. So I did schedule it, and it was great. The first meeting was great. Joe is a very down-to-earth, easy talking, being able to talk to. This program is totally different than anything I ever did. I don't know how many years ago, I'm going to say 15 years ago, I went to a hypnotist for strictly weight loss, which is what I expected, a one-time session with a tape recorder on my own. That's not what I got. What I got was a really great guy that works with me and we were meeting weekly, then every 2 weeks. And my fault that we're not meeting every 2 weeks because of my crazy schedule right now, but it goes 2 to 3 weeks. And he really, really cares, and it's genuine.
I think as well, it's probably worth mentioning, I've no, I don't mind talking about this at all, is one of the other reasons that brought me to you was I hit perimenopause with an absolute crash. And that has all kinds of metabolic implications for many women. Some women sail through perimenopause and menopause. I had planned to be one of those women, but the reality turned out to be slightly different to that. And this is something that you've been able to keep changing with me as I've been going through that process. And there's also been times with it where it's been really hard, when my hormones have been all over the place, and that can lead to all kinds of sugar cravings and stuff. And you gave me a set of tools to work with that. And for that, I'm extremely grateful, because I'm not sure if I'd have been doing the traditional, well, I know if I'd have been doing the traditional calories in, calories out, it would have been, I would have been beating myself up about how I was feeling, which leads you down a path that you don't want to go. So
if it's a client, the only advice I have is be patient. Because for me, the first week was the hardest, when I could eat everything I wanted. I just needed to take pictures and send them to Joseph. So that was the only thing I did. And that was the hardest week I had, when I was always hungry. And I don't know why, because I was eating the same things like I ate before. So maybe it was my brain thinking, okay, starting next week, you can't eat this anymore. So I don't know what it was, but that was the hardest week I had. Wow. So I'm still doing the intermittent fasting. So that means I never eat less than 16 hours, the dinner to breakfast. And then I'm doing the 24-hour fasting from time to time. And I did actually one on Saturday. So it's easier to do it. But sometimes, yeah, do I crave things? Sure, I do. And when I see some stuff, sure, I want to taste them. And I do a lot of times. I taste them, but I don't eat a lot. So I just taste them, finish with it, that's it. So I'm not going to tell myself, hey, you cannot touch that, and then craving it all the time. No, I say, okay, you can taste it. And then actually I tasted something, and then like half an hour later, I took my sugar, and it was still good. So I guess my body is dealing better now with sugar and carbohydrates than it used to do before.
Here we go.
Here we go. Look, here we go. Literally on my desk.
She's getting her probiotics there. And the thing is, this is just amazing stuff. And but the learning doesn't stop. It never, not for me and not for any of the people that I've trained there. You're always welcome to call me up. Anyway, you have another thing?
Yeah, one last thing. I mean, I think this is really key, because these are what we've been telling you, is how this will help people doing this training with you, how it will help them, do better. But what this will also do, because of the things that you've just said, because this is based on science, the menopause section that you've got in there now, even things like the gut microbiome, this makes this a real cutting edge kind of program that's out there now. And what it will do is help people stand out. So even if you're in a niche, weight loss within hypnosis is, most hypnotherapists would do that. But if you've got this edge and you've got that training, and you can advertise that out, that you're working in this really holistic way, then that's what people are looking for. Because you're right, if you look on YouTube right now, intermittent fasting, glucose, all the different kind of glucose monitoring, and the gut microbiome is absolutely exploding. So by doing this training rather than the kind of old traditional kind of weight loss training, really kind of will put a hypnotist at the head of their game. So it's a good business decision as well as a good personal one.
But I do know this. I know that the body can heal itself. I know. And I'm taking the necessary steps to do that. I'm not just saying, oh, I'm going to heal myself. I'm really taking the next necessary steps to do that. And I know that, again, sugar feeds cancer. So I know this diabetes that I have, it's not my diabetes, it's this diabetes, because I'm eradicating it, isn't going to be here anymore in the next few months. So I'm good. Okay,
Yeah.
so my A1C when we started was over 12.
Okay, wow, that's very high.
Yes, it is very high. And as of right now, I actually have a test tomorrow.
Oh,
But the last 3 months ago, my blood sugar was at 7.
7.
my
So you
A1C.
went from 12 to 7 3 months ago, and we're hoping for even better results tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I had a doctor's appointment, and he looked at, because I have a
Well, first of all, it's pretty easy. And secondly, I felt like I always had support,
Beautiful.
that you were always very support, and still are. We're still working together. Always very supportive. And you always told me, if you're struggling, email, call me. I'm here for you.
And you have a unique program that's not only good for the client, but would be fantastic for other hypnotists to learn. Because it's one thing to hypnotize someone to just not eat too much food or so forth. But if they're not eating the right foods, if they're not eating clean, healthy foods, then they're, as we know, our blood sugar levels are all over the place. I watched a video where this doctor had eaten a piece of pizza. I forgot what his name is now. He was on YouTube. He ate 4 pieces of pizza and then continued to check his blood sugar. That blood sugar continued to rise for 12 hours later. It was still peaking.
Wow.
So it's just amazing on how, you know, people go to the gym and they're going to the gym every day and they can't lose any weight. Well, because then it's the chicken wings and the bread at Texas Roadhouse.
My blood sugar in the last 2 weeks has been consistently 95 to 98. And my weight has dropped, wait a minute, I have to do some math. 18 pounds.
So I can't thank you enough from a professional standpoint and from a client standpoint. But those are some of the things. I got a lot more out of the program also. But those are some of the things that I took away from it and that I've actually given to some of my own clients. So thank you so much.